some water. Not too much, but some. Might stop to go get more at some point in time. But other than that, I'm all set for another stream. Let me kick out a tweet. Okay. So, since my last video, what's new is I've started working on how to stream text out. I've already got the ability to initialize the stream loop right here, and now I'm working on how to advance it. So basically, what I have to do is an in-order traversal across the tree. Which looks like this. Okay, and you know, if you're sitting right here and you're reading some text, the next thing you have to do is figure out how to find this node, and then at this node you need to find this node, and so on. And the trick is basically, from wherever you are, go up until you find that you were on the left-hand side. So if I'm on the left-hand side here, I go up, and then you go down to the right and all the way to the left. And if you are on the right-hand side when you move up again, right? So you'll see what I mean in a minute. But basically, I'll have to do an in-order traversal that'll visit these nodes. I don't really care about visiting the nodes in between, which makes my life a lot easier. I just have to visit each of these nodes in order in this loop. And I already have it figured out to, like, oh, if this is where I end, then just check that early and get out then, right? So in-order traversal from there to there is the goal. Right now I have a pointer to a node, so then what I do is I say make a sort of a loop, set that node equal to its parent, and at each step I also need to know, like, what's the child index that I was at, right? Which is a little bit tricky, maybe. I'm not sure if I want that as a pointer or as a index. Maybe a pointer would be easier, because then I can just say the child is the node, and move up, and then say, look, if the if the child we just left was on the left side, otherwise it must have been on the right side. I'll assert that it was on the right side for now. Okay, and then on the left-hand side, if we just come up and we were on the left-hand side, then the loop's almost done. Next thing we do is, well, let me think about something else. Actually, we could break right here and say that our goal is always find the left-hand side. I was on the right, go again, I was on the left, then do the next thing, right? I was on the left, so do the next thing. Yeah, okay. So I'll just always break. And I'll leave that else assert in there, but I don't think I actually need anything else there. And the other thing I want to do is at each step, we want to say I shouldn't ever end up going to the very root. Okay. It's weird. Anyway, going up, and then once you're where you want to be, take the node that you're at and go to the right. Basically, we won't stop until the previous node was on the left, so if we won't be going back to the node we were just on whenever we do this. Go down to the right one, and then another loop that says while there's a left child, go to that child. Yep, that seems pretty good. So after all of that, we will have found the node that contains the new node we want to be at. From there, we have to figure out how to reset everything about the loop so that it's correct. So let's see. The absolute position becomes the loop's position plus the loop's size, like that should be true. And we'll have to count on that being true. In this case, actually, we need temp end will equal the loop's, or the node's size, which is the weight, and then we'll say look if we're going to need the loop node to equal the node minus the nodes, and the position can just be 0. And then if loop node is the end node, then we need to say position. Good, so that way we never go past the end that we want to go to. And then we can set the size, which is just temp end, and then gotta set the data, right? So we've got to set the position, the node, the absolute position, the size. Yeah, so the data is the last thing. These two remain the same, and this remains the same after every step. So the data, it comes from the node, And yeah, that's it actually. I don't need to add anything. Okay. So maybe that's it. Let's see if we've got it building. Not quite. Buffer nodes does not exist. Stringify init. Result nodes. That's an unusually slow build time. I don't know how to debug that, but it's taking longer than usual. Oh, that would explain it. I accidentally left the Twitch video running, so sorry if it was a little messed up for a while there. Right, there's no actual node data. What I need is more like the buffer's data plus the string start. And this is a void pointer. Alright, cool. Before I can actually render anything, I have to go and look at abstract and enable a few things. That should be possible now. Basically everything that relies on forward stringify. That relies on both. This relies on forward stringify only. This relies on forward stringify only. No. Yes. Buffer patch edit. That should be at 2 now. I just have sort of deprecated the use of that function entirely. So maybe I want to take that out. Okay, so I don't see anything. I still might have to allow more stuff in this file. File save. I think that should be possible now. The fact that that didn't cause a problem until now is a little unusual, I might think. But maybe it's just not been linking that in at all, and so it suppressed the warning up until now. Oops. Heyo, Fucon, how's it going? Grow widths, measure widths, remeasure widths, compute lowest line. Hopefully all of that is possible now. It is, so on we go. Measure wraps should be possible. Post undo and redo in history should not be. Cursor from position should be possible. No, update history is not possible. Do single edit, not possible. Not possible. Not possible. That's possible. No. No. Yes. Alright, now we might actually see what happens when I try to render this file. There we go. Yeah, that's still wrong, so I should go fix that real quick. Creating the file. What went wrong here? I was trying to measure the width, and it didn't like the fact that the thing has no lines at all. Which means when it tried to measure the start, something went wrong in the loop, and it didn't work. So we'll have to look into that. I don't like the fact that this says 1024. That should be 0 if the whole thing has been allocated, not those node counts. So I need to go look at how I set that free list up, because something's wrong there. Yeah. Okay. Now what I want to do is when it becomes time for this thing to measure the starts of the lines, whoops, I want to walk through and see what happens. Alright, time comes to measure some starts. We begin stringifying the loop, starting at 0, going to the end of the file, sure. Okay. It found 10 again. That can't be good. Okay, so there's a problem there. Let me watch what happens there. Okay, so I'm trying to find this position, 102.992. Says, yep, string started at 0, so it continues. Is position less than left weight? It is not. So nodes to what, really? That's not particularly useful. I'm not sure why that diagram shows there being an extra root node. I'm still questioning whether that's actually any use, but in this case it certainly isn't. This should start at the left-hand child of the first root. That would be better. Okay, it's about to find this second node here at that position. Here we have some node who has a left weight and a right weight and is positioned less than that left weight. It is not. So we take the left weight and add that into the node start, subtract it out of the position that we're looking for, and we go to the right hand node. Still not there. Is positioned less than this left weight? It is not. Now I should pretty much go to the right every single time here. Node start has gone up. Position minus. Node equals. Go to the right. Increase again. Decrease again. Go to the right. Goes to the right. Let me watch these over here. Position, node start, decrease, decreased, decreased again, still not there, still not there, and aha, that's the end of the loop. We have the start of a string now. So it comes out, node end is non-zero. It's 1023, which means it's the last node in the whole block of 1024 nodes that I've got. It's a lot of nodes. Anyways, the end position that we're looking for is right there. So that's the end position in that final node. Makes sense. And there we go. So that looks maybe a little better than whatever it was doing before. If I take a quick look at data plus I can see, and if I look at data directly, I can see what I'm streaming out. Yep. So I want a breakpoint on the next function now. So I can walk through there and make sure it all looks good. So the node was not the end node by any stretch of the imagination, so we grab some information that we need. We say, alright, go to your parent, take a look and say, were we on the left hand side? And we were. So then we go down to the right hand side, and there's nothing to the left of that. So then the position is 0. Yep, that makes sense. The node becomes 11. Cool. The absolute position is now updated to there. Uh-oh. That's not right. 398 is wrong. Okay. Alright, best now I think to just run it and see where it breaks next. Well, that was somewhat unexpected that it would not crash. At least we've got a bug still, because it's showing me all these zeros that don't really exist. And this, whatever that is. Yeah, it's doing some funky stuff. So, we're not really working per se, but man, some of it's looking pretty good, which is unexpected. This suggests that somehow the loop is off in terms of where it lines up the data pointer and the absolute position values and stuff like this. Should really take out this chunk coloring thing now. Not sure why it's still in there. I thought I was going to do that, but it looks like I didn't. There we go. Okay, so that's back to not happening. And now, time to look into this loop some more. I want to look at... we can delete this one. I want that one. What does this one do? I don't want that one. Okay. Okay. This is where I really want to be. And let's see. My suspicion is that this first chunk just works. Oh, I just had a new idea on how I could do these chunks that would be so much smarter. Okay, and now I want a breakpoint in... I don't need this one around. Where is next? Here it is. Let's find out what happens when we get to the next spot. We've already walked through this to make sure that it kind of makes sense. 260. That can't be good though, right? Because, I mean, 256. That's 256 plus 4. That can't be right. Interesting. Let me walk through to the end here, and I'll look at what this says. Loop size can't be 10. No. That's wrong. And this is sort of weird, but maybe not wrong. I mean, I should equal to a 1, so data plus I and data should be the same right now, right? Oh, this is data as in, okay, what about loop data? Okay, that's better. Now, the question is, why is the size wrong? Let me look at that again. I'll take the next off for now so it can get to the one that I want. Turn it on. Okay, where does loop size come from? Temp end. Nodes weight, that should be node weight. 399. Okay. That all seems fair and good. Okay, I'll just go to the next one. So now it should be a situation where it's sitting on a node kind of like this one, and it's got to go up 1, 2, and then down 1, 2, right? So it comes in here, parent is not 0, good. Saves itself as the child, goes to the parent. Am I the left side? It should say no. Therefore, on the right side, it says yes. Take the child again. Go to the parent. This time it should say it's the left-hand side. It is. It gets out. It goes to the right-hand side of that and then says, oh, I have a left child. Go to that. I don't have a left child. So there you go, and now we're on node 13. Makes sense. String start of this node should be non-zero. Good. Node 13 does not equal the end node, so nothing happens there. Size is 201. Data is data plus string start. $516. 256 plus 4. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, I get it. That makes sense now. So let's just, how about I just play this out, because I'm not seeing anything happening immediately. No way. It looks like it's working. I can navigate. I have to turn on a few more of the navigation commands, but I can navigate with the mouse and with the arrows, and it's rendering things, and I can't appear to do this yet. I don't know if that's, yeah, that's just because I haven't enabled it. But that pretty much just worked. So far this is like easier than the multi-gap buffer. Maybe I made that harder on myself than I needed to. But, yeah, it's actually not the hardest thing in the world. But I haven't done editing on this one yet, which is probably where it gets to be the worst in difficulty. Let me go and enable a few things that I didn't actually enable yet. Less than or equal to 2. Yeah, that can be on. These can all turn on now. Hey, Garlando! Nice to see ya. Alright. Uh-oh. Horrifying string is not found, huh? Oh, you're right. I can't enable this yet. I'm totally wrong. I can't enable any of those things yet. I have to get the backify in before they work. Jumping the gun. Pull these back out. Actually, all of my buffers are public domain, so, you know, just saying. They belong to all of us. They are belong to all of us. Okay. Let's do the backify version. Whoops, that was weird. Okay, there we go. Rope. Rope. Alright. So this probably looks more like this now. And this probably looks a lot like this. Buffer, backify, start and size of the buffer. Let me just quickly go and look at backify because I want the correct condition here. Cool. And then some things here get more complicated now when you're backifying instead of stringifying, but that's okay. We'll make it work. Buffer abstract. No, which one do I want? Rope. Okay. So with this one, we still set the buffer like that. We still find start. The other thing I have to do is they input that, so I need to actually increase start by 1. Okay. So here's where we are starting on this node. And let's see. Okay, the absolute position is going to be a little bit interesting. Absolute position begins at the beginning of this node here, so it's like the node start position instead of, you know, because it's an absolute position, it's the beginning of the buffer in absolute coordinates. The position is the beginning of the buffer in I can't figure this out until okay. Alright, I always try to like morph this in from the other one, but it's just always too different, so I gotta stop that. Start from scratch. Find node start node start position. So that gives me the node index where I start. Node end gives me the position where I want to end. I need to figure out the end position. I'll do this before everything else. The end position is basically where I actually want to end minus offset for at the beginning of that node. Okay, the start node, what do I have to do with this one? I need to know the absolute position, size, position. Okay, I have the node itself. These here become annoying because they're based on the beginning position. Right, so the temp end becomes the start position of the whole node, start minus that, right? And then what we'll do is we'll have a thing where we say, okay, that's fine. Right, and we need to know the temp start. The temp start is like, oh, I'm 0, unless by chance you're already at the end node. If you're already at the end node, then temp start should probably be the end position. And then result size is end minus start. Okay, so that sets the size, the node end, the end position. All that's left is data, absolute position, and position. So basically if I get these two, data is the easy one always, because I have that set up so I can just do data equals buffer data plus the node string start plus the temp start. Right, so that works out. I just need to figure out absolute position and position now. The absolute position is basically node start position, unless we happen to be at the end, in which case it's just n. Wait. Yeah, this right here is the absolute position, unless we're in this case here. So it's a little bit unruly, but it will work. So this equals the start position of that node, and then in this scenario here, should it come to pass, then the absolute position is simply end. Okay, cool. And then the last question is, how do I get my position variable? And position is basically going to be absolute position minus the node start of that end node there, but I don't know that ahead of time, so I should just do it this way. And then how much do I have to add? I have to add the difference between this and this. right? Because if this increases by that amount, I would end up with this expression here, right? So that's how much this is increasing by. So this right here, and I want to increase this by the same amount, so that's good. Okay, it's a little bit rough, but I think that does what it needs to do. All right, so how about the next phase of this? Nice, all done. So that works. Those can be inlined. And then there's finally the next function. Okay. So this will work something like the other one, where like basically all this if applies still. If the node is the end node and the position is the end position, then get us out of here. Otherwise, do I really need this buffer pointer? I use it in like 2 places? No, I don't think so. I can actually do without it. Yep, that'll be fine. And let's see. Let us see. The rest of that I probably still want something similar for, so I'll grab it all. That goes. Okay. We have a very similar structure. The for loop that has the same purpose except going backwards. So basically, if right is that, then you break. Otherwise, you're like, okay, make sure that was on the left-hand side and keep going. Right, this is all just the same thing with left and right reversed. Left and right. And right. Okay. Okay, so we don't need temp end, actually, we just need temp start. Garlando, yeah, I can relate somewhat. I've traveled a little bit, but only around on the East Coast. So, like the westest I've ever been is Chicago. So flying out all the way to Seattle is like the longest flight I'll ever have been on, and it'll be the farthest west I've ever been. It'll be pretty interesting. It will be pretty interesting. Alright, so there's the size right there. And then there's the data situation. So it's your first time riding a plane. Do you have any apprehension about plane flight? I know I was not so scared of it the last time I was on it. When I was I've only ever been on like 3 plane rides in my life. There was one, two, and back from Florida once when I was very young, and then one more recently where I took a one-way trip, and then I didn't take the plane back. Um, and I was pretty scared the first time. And then after that, I wasn't so worried about it. But I have noticed I don't think most people have, like I have, since I was young, I've had like slight issues with. Yeah, I don't know what to say. Plane rides. I'm not sure what to call it. Flights, something like this. Uh, it's a funny phrase. I'm terrible with words. Uh, but when I was super young, I had like a weird inner ear issue for a while, and like it's supposedly resolved, but it uh, being that high up and like the pressure situation, they sound it can kind of suck for me sometimes. Especially it's just the like descending back into the atmosphere. Uh, really sucks for me. But I'm doubting that most people have the same issue that I have. Plane rides. Alright, I think this is done. What do you know? It didn't even break. Very weird. Very concerning. But it'll probably start screwing up once I run it, hopefully. Ah, there you go. Yeah, if you're already used to elevation situations, then you're probably good. Wait, first I need to go to the abstract. Less than or equal to 2. I can now backify. Oh, can't do edits though. Can't do edits. Okay. Mm-hmm. My actual fear about traveling isn't the plane itself, or even like I've gotten over like getting through security fears at this point. My main fear now is that once I land on the other end, I'll just sort of like sit there and not know what to do or where to go, and I'll just be like stuck at the airport for, 3 nights or 2 nights or whatever until my plane home because I never figure out to my flight home because I never figure out uh, because I never figure out how to get to my hotel or something. My fear is that for some reason I'll land down and I'll just become an idiot and will spend the whole time at the airport and never figure out how to get anywhere. Which is a kind of absurd fear, but it's like in my head, it's the thing that is most likely to happen that will go bad now. I suppose I haven't I should be more afraid of the security checkpoints than I am. I just haven't uh, gotten the worst of it before, so I don't actually have that in my mental model of things that might happen. Post undo, post redo, post history, update history, do single edit, more edit stuff, edit stuff, edit stuff, edit stuff. There we go. Yeah, I believe that I have a hotel room. I do not totally believe that I will ever find that hotel room or like survive, you know? It's if I get to the hotel room then I'm fine and there's nothing to fear for the rest of the trip. But the scary moment for me is landing down, finding my stuff, and then the time between that and getting to the hotel room, right? Because during that period of time, I'm sort of like in this. It for me, that's like the the nebulous zone of what is going on. I could slip through the cracks and become, you know, lost forever. Hmm. Yeah, that the hotel that Casey posted about yesterday was the one I was originally booked at. By the way, I don't know if you noticed or if you knew about that, but I had originally booked at that hotel, and then saw that yesterday that they were offering discounts, and it's too late now. But wow, so this is pretty messed up. When I go up, I'm doing control up and it doesn't work. Control down works fine. Control up is kind of broken. Alright, so I gotta look into that because it's obviously not quite working. Cool. Let me know. We can talk about it at some point, but you should let me know when you're getting there because I don't mind waiting around for a bit to share a taxi and make sure we're all finding the way correctly. And by all I mean me, I mean myself. Okay, okay, where is this going wrong? So I want to watch what happens when I hit control up. Okay. So first of all, there's where I actually want to break, not here. And so in the future I can do that. And then, let's see, start 469, end of 1, okay. Find the node that is responsible for that. Oh, that's the end node, yep. Oh, cool, I haven't checked the spreadsheet. I'll take a look at that and see to confirm. But I hadn't seen everyone else's landing times. Node position 0. Absolute position 0. Wait, that's just totally bogus. What was I talking about when I did this? Who let me write this code? Someone in here let me write this, and it's totally bogus. That all has to apply to the start node, not the end node. Okay, well. Yeah, none of that makes any sense. All of this code makes no sense at all. Okay. Sure. Okay. So then the question becomes, if the absolute position is just end, sure. What is the relative position? That would be end, whoops, minus node start position. Oh, that is a little bit clever. Okay, so like it made like 35 to 45% sense. Well, if temp start is just going to equal whatever position equals, why would I even keep it around, you know? Let me see if it works. That's working better. That's working pretty solidly. Let me go down to the bottom, up to a to-do. Nice. Okay, so rope so far, not so bad, not so bad. But I'm still not editing them, which is going to be the real test. But that is pretty cool. Let me see where I am here in time. 1 hour in, and I have all of rendering and cursor seeking stuff done. I need a refill because this is empty. So I take that back. Now it's empty. And what I'll do is turn the stream off for a few minutes, fill that up, take a bathroom break, and when I come back, I'll turn the stream back on and work on the next thing.